Megalopolis. Released September 27, 2024. Directed by Francis Ford Coppola. Written by Francis Ford Coppola. Starring Adam Driver, Giancarlo Esposito, and Natalie Emmanuel. MPAH rating, R. Rotten Tomatoes score, 49%. Metacritic, 56. IMDb, 5.3. Welcome back to Real Reviews. Like always, I am your host, Lee. Today we are talking about the most recent Francis Ford Coppola movie, Megalopolis. It isn't getting reviewed well, and is expected to fail at the box office and after seeing it. I get it, but let's talk about it. I want to get the acting out of the way. Every single performance was great. Adam Driver, to Aubrey Plaza, to Shia LaBeouf, each one did their job spectacularly. I will say that I feel like Shia was cast because he already has a public persona of being kind of out there, and the character he portrayed was completely out there. This movie is just filled with high-profile actors, and Coppola gets a spectacular performance out of each and every one of them. It is rare that I see a movie where the acting is just so standout. I think the writing doesn't really do the characters justice, though. Adam Driver's character comes off as a pretentious, out-of-touch genius with these long monologues, and then goes into being drug-addled and unaware of reality, and then to just a normal guy who loves and cares about the people around him. Shia's character goes from an entitled socialite who cares about nothing more than living a fun life, to one obsessed with ruining his cousin, at one point basically having a burn book, to a savvy individual who has aspirations at politics. From time to time it feels like you are getting whiplash as they just change rapidly, and then go back to how they were before. At least in one spot near the end, a character says something is happening, and it cuts to the scene in question, but the thing never happens, which really confused me. Maybe they were talking about something else, but I couldn't tell. That being said, the story is probably the only great part about this movie. This is an artistically driven movie. Some of the shots are beautifully framed, each item perfectly placed, the lighting immaculate, the costumes on point. Then so many more shots look odd, with poor effects, weird lighting choices. This movie is definitely the type that offers loads of screenshot-worthy frames. Okay, but the story is good, right? Not really. The story is convoluted and confusing. We have Caesar, a genius who seems to be basically a god, who has created this wondrous building material that will revolutionize the world and supposedly start a new era for humans. We have Platinum. I know her name seems ridiculous, but she is a highly driven, manipulative media personality doing whatever she has to do to get to the top. Frank, a previous DA, who is now mayor and wants to keep the world where it is. That is just 3 characters, and 3 of the main storylines, but there are several more, and they just layer up to be a mess. But maybe the worst part is that pretty quickly it is hard to tell if our protagonist Caesar is a reliable narrator at all. Constantly he sees things that are off or weird, and the movie will just switch scenes and pretend nothing really happened, and it makes the entirety of the narrative become questionable at best. I think possibly the greatest fumble of this movie is that it has so many good ideas, but Coppola clearly isn't interested in really focusing on one. Here are just a handful of threads. The death of an empire, the birth of a new empire, the destruction of a family, a murder mystery, how the world is changed with a miracle building material, star-crossed lovers, the man with the ability to change the world except the moments he needs to, the uprising of a political extremist. These are all there, and I left out a few. There are also some what I will call aged filmmaking choices in this movie. Like chapter cards, a narrator who is a character in the movie, multi-panel shots where multiple scenes are happening at once. It also feels really oddly paced. Often the chapter cards can help with that, but in this case they just add to that issue. While they don't jump between perspectives, often it also leads to this issue, but the worst offender here is just long scenes purely of monologue. This movie is just over 2 hours long, and some sections just drag miserably, which I don't think should happen in a movie that length. I rarely comment about costumes because everyone has a different opinion on such things, but I think here it is worth being brought up. It hops between ancient Rome-inspired costumes, to 1920s to 50s suits, and then to weird, supposedly modern outfits that look out of place. But maybe the weirdest choice is that every woman who is getting ready for bed is wearing like a slinky, sexy, sheer outfit, or one that is barely there. Heck, one time they show a woman presumably in a coma, or at least unconscious, and they have her in this weird, almost net-like thing, and it feels like it was chosen just to be sexy. I don't personally find them offensive, but it was so weird and out of place. I didn't do questions this time because I don't think that Megalopolis does enough good or enough bad to really get a meaningful answer. I think the legacy this movie will leave is one lesser but similar to something like Fight Club, where 20-somethings film elitist will declare some deep and profound narrative that the movie just doesn't support. So I gave this movie a 4 out of 8 or 5 out of 10 stars. It isn't the worst movie I have ever seen. I may give it a rewatch when it is streaming. Honestly, I am less bothered by this movie than I was by Rebel Moon. If you made it this far, make sure to like, subscribe, and comment. If you enjoyed it, make sure to like and subscribe. I typically have at least 2 videos out per week, real reviews like this one or AI reviews depending on releases. Until next time.